A really messed up thing I went through as a child is in elementary school because I was hyper and I had big dreams and big emotions. I always tried to be a good girl. I mean, I did have a lot of deep emotions from abandonment issues and wanting my mom and dad back, and it didn't help that I had elders talking down upon my mom and dad, which caused me more psychological torment as a little girl. And there was this science teacher that was also the gym teacher that recommended to my grandma that I should be put on medications, and that's when life started dramatically changing for me, being put on these different medications that ultimately made me sick, being wrongfully diagnosed by quacks, and I felt like a lab rat. Like, I didn't even need to be on these meds. I remember like taking handfuls of pills that would like comatose me. Some of them made me pull my hair out. Some of them gave me rashes where I couldn't even move or get up out of bed. Some of them numbed me out so deeply that I was void of empathy or any feelings. Some of them made me feel like I couldn't eat, so I was starving to death, and I would get humiliated by teachers because they would sit with me at lunch and make sure I'd eat, but I tried to keep explaining to them it's the medications that I am on. Some of them would make me dry heave or not be motivated to learn, and I loved learning. I loved school. I got picked on and bullied because I had a bandana that I would wear because of my hair being pulled out from the stress of the medications. Just going to these doctors and then just feeding me these pills, and I kept telling them like how sick they were making me and that I didn't want to be on them, but they would continuously keep prescribing me different pills. Some of them I wasn't even old enough to be on, and it caused like nervous system damage, heart palpitations, dry mouth, just all sorts of messed up things psychologically. I felt like I was on horse tranquilizers. Like, my grandma's like, oh, you have to take them or they're going to arrest us. The judge told us that you need to be on these. And I ultimately got old enough to start throwing up the meds because they made me sick and I didn't want to take them anymore. And like, I remember going to a psych ward once because I cut myself because I was tired of all the meds that I was put on and how I was being treated. And they told me I was a threat to myself and put me in a nut hut. And I was in there for like a week or two, and I realized like what they were doing to children and people, and I got myself out of there quickly. And just like all of the different lockup facilities I got put into, or the abuse that they put children through, like if you don't comply with their orders, they would physically restrain you and humiliate you and get enjoyment out of it just because you didn't comply with the direct order. Like one time there was like head lice going on in Mingus Mountain Academy, and I didn't like putting my hair up. It made me uncomfortable, and I didn't do it to be defiant. I just didn't want to put my hair up. And they didn't like that I wouldn't comply, so I got put into a peer support and then a staff support and ultimately got restrained. And like, they said that it was a peer-run culture, but like every time you didn't obey something that they didn't feel was right, they would wrongfully, horribly restrain you in like pretzel ways, the most painful way possible. And in other lockup facilities, like this non-secure one I went to, I remember being in a basement at these older people's house that were supposed to be Christians, and they would lock us in the room every night, and I was afraid of the man because he had anger issues and I could hear him fighting with his wife sometimes. I didn't want to open the door and wake him up, so I held my pee until like I thought I was going to cry. I did cry because I didn't have anything to pee in and I didn't want to open the door and get yelled at, so I peed on a washcloth and put it under the bed and was afraid it was going to get found. And I remember one time being forced at dinner to eat lamb, and I didn't believe in eating lamb and I didn't want to eat it, and like he forced me to sit at that dinner table until I ate the lamb while gagging and puking, and then he got offended that I couldn't eat it, but he made me eat the whole thing, and it was disgusting. And I remember being in a lockup facility over the bridge in Michigan, and they would strip you down naked to make sure you didn't have anything. But we're just kids. Why would we sneak something into a lockup facility? Um, and the COs would pick on kids that had mental challenges, and we're supposed to lay in our beds at night. And I heard them tormenting this kid that had psychological problems, so I purposely got myself in trouble and told them to leave him alone, stop hurting him. Like, we're all hurting, and like, we don't want to be here. And they put me in the side room and put me in handcuffs. I slipped the handcuffs off and like messed with them a bit and got put into a chair for spitting in one of their faces. And like, I tried to distract them as long as I could to keep them away from this kid because I thought it was wrong. And like, I remember having to go to court one day, and this guy was listening to Christian music and being a jerk, and I don't even remember what really happened, but ultimately I got hogtied and restrained extremely hard into the ground and gravel because I didn't want to comply with what he was saying, and I told him he was wrong for being a jackass. And he got enjoyment out of restraining me and hurting me, which made me sick. And like, I remember getting my mountain lion and completing the program in Mingus Mountain Academy. And my friend Conalita, she was the short native girl, didn't want me to leave. And she kept trying to get me to date this girl, and I wasn't really into girls. Like, I thought she was kind of cute, but it wasn't my thing. I was just trying to get home because I've been there forever, and I was young, and I wanted to go home to my family. And I remember like being in the little school area and like her talking to all the teachers, and like, I had a feeling in my gut that something was going on. And like, we're supposed to stay in our individual classes throughout the day, but she kept coming into my classes trying to like get me to like this terror girl and get me to date her. It was like a setup. It was weird to like make me fail so I couldn't leave that fucking horrible place. And like, I let the whole thing play out, and I was utterly disgusted that they were trying to frame me. And we got put into this like little group circle, and they all wanted to act like I did something wrong when I didn't. And like, as I tried to not justify but explain the situation and what I saw go down, they all shamed me and treated me like shit and tried to like get my mountain lion taken away from me. And I remember Miss Petra being mean to me because I didn't want to watch a movie. I just wanted to go to sleep. I was pretty depressed by everything that was going on because I worked so hard for my mountain lion and for that respect and honor. And I got treated like crap for that too. Like, it's like they all like were trying to like throw dirt on my name, and like, I didn't care. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. I tried not to fight with them or cause problems. And ultimately, my PO at the time saw that was going on, and she got me the heck out of there, thank God. But like, I've heard so many stories of like other kids that went through the things that I went through as a child, but like went through way worse like psychological and physical abuse in these lockup facilities. That children that come from troubled past or have like addiction or psychological issues, or were defiant, or just didn't fit in the static norms of like society. We got labeled as threats to society when we weren't threats to society. Not all of us. I mean, we made mistakes, but like, ultimately, I don't know. I don't think kids should be put through that type of harsh treatment in environments, especially when they came from broken homes and families. Like, I remember like going to court. Like, I didn't break the law a lot. Like, I just like to run away from home because I was a prisoner at my home. And it was just because my grandparents didn't want me to get in trouble or hang out with troublemakers. But what was I getting at? Oh yeah, the judge that did our adoption. Like, every time I would go in front of him, I would try to stand up for myself or explain my side of the story or what I went through. And like, I would get punished for speaking my side of the story or explaining what happened. Like, I wasn't always good. I made bad decisions, but like, I got punished for even trying to stick up for myself. So I learned to just keep my mouth shut and like watch it all play out. And like, I remember going into like the main guy's office and him just yelling at me and telling me that I was never going to go anywhere and I was never going to be anything, just like psychologically tormented me. And I looked at him with disgust, like I knew what he was doing, and like just ignored it and told myself that I was never going to be the things that they said that I was. And I ultimately got trapped in that system until I was 17 and aged out. And every facility that I ever got put into, I really tried to do good. I didn't do good. Like I made mistakes, but like they all made fun of me, my family. Like I don't know, it's just weird. But it made me strong. It made me who I am today, like going through what I went through. And I've always wanted to help children and young teens and other people that have gone through the same struggles as me, or the same psychological or physical abuse from like family, either from being molested or psychological warfare or drug addiction or just anything. Like I've always just tried to help people as well as elders, and I don't know. Yeah.